Good morning, class. How are all of you? Hope you all are doing well and studies are going on in full swing. Well, today we will be beginning with the structure and development of the anther and the male gametophyte. In my previous class, we had discussed that flowers are the reproductive structures of angiospermic plants. They bring about reproduction. Each flower either has male and female parts or any one of the two. That is, a flower can be bisexual or it is unisexual. Sometimes the flower lack both male and female parts, then such a flower is called a neuter flower. Now coming to the male part of the flower. The male part of the flower collectively is called androecium. It is made up of stamens and each stamen has a filament and an anther. This anther is made up of two lobes which is joined to each other by means of a connective. Now this connective is actually the vascular tissue which is supplying nutrients to the anther lobes. And to anther lobes we use the term dithecus for it. If we cut a TS of this, we see each anther lobe is made up of two pollen sacs like this. Each anther lobe is made up of two pollen sacs. This is the connective in TS. These are the pollen sacs. Now pollen sacs contain the pollen grains. Pollen grains are actually the male gametophyte. Pollen grains are the male gametophyte. So this is a structure of a stamen. Now if we look at each, these pollen sacs are also called microsporangia, plural term, and singular is microsporangium. So each microsporangium is circular like this, and if we cut a section we see four of them like this. In the center is the connective tissue. These are lined by four layers. Now these four layers are, the outermost is called epithelium, second is called endothecium, the third layer is called the middle layer, and the fourth innermost layer is the tapetum. These three layers are mainly for providing protection, and at the same time they supply nutrients to the developing pollen grains. Pollen grains are going to develop in each of these pollen sacs. How that development is going to take place, that I will explain just now. How the development of the male gametophyte, that is the pollen grains, takes place inside the pollen sacs. These are four pollen sacs. This is a structure of TS of an anther. This is TS of anther. So the outer three layers, that is epithelium, endothecium and the middle layer, they provide protection and supply nutrients to the developing pollen grains. Now, how does that development take place? In each pollen sac, in the center is a special tissue which is compactly packed and is called the sporogenous tissue. This tissue is made up of compactly packed cells with dense cytoplasm called the sporogenous tissue. They are also called the microsporocytes. This tissue, which is made up of compactly packed cells with dense cytoplasm. Now, this microsporocyte, several microsporocytes are present in the sporogenous tissue placed in the center of the pollen sac, and each microsporocyte undergoes several mitotic divisions. See, this is a diploid cell. It is a part of the male part of the flower, the anther, and it is diploid. When it undergoes mitotic divisions, means all the cells that are going to be formed will also be diploid. So, lot of cells are formed, and these cells are called the microspore mother cells, or we also call them pollen mother cells. Now, these cells are also diploid. After that, each microspore mother cell undergoes meiotic division, meiosis, where now the chromosome number will become half. That is, it will have n number of cells. So, these cells after meiotic division form haploid microspores. Microspores are also called pollen grains. And a pollen grain is the male gametophyte. So pollen grains are formed. So this formation of microspores from the pollen mother cell or from the microspore mother cell is, the process is called microsporogenesis. Genesis word means formation of the microspores. So the process is called microsporogenesis, and we get haploid microspores. Actually, 4 of them are formed. Suppose this is the microspore mother cell. First meiotic division, it forms 2 cells. These 2 cells are haploid. Here, this is the first meiotic division. Let us say this is, meiosis occurs in 2 phases. First phase is where the cells become haploid. Now these 2 cells are haploid. Then this undergoes the second meiotic division, you have studied earlier, is a kind of mitosis which leads to the formation of 4 cells. And these cells are called the microspore tetrad. So 4 cells from each microspore mother cell are formed. So here we have lots of pollen grains developing from the microsporocytes or the sporogenous tissue. So that's how pollen grains are formed in the anther. And pollen grain or the microspores that are formed here are the ones that are the male gametophyte. So these 3 layers are providing protection and supplying nutrients to the developing pollen, and the tapetum is again a layer with dense cytoplasm having a large nucleus. And this provides helps in the development of the sporogenous tissue and provides nutrition to the developing pollen grains. So this was about the structure. Now these microspores that are formed, they separate from the tetrad as the anther is maturing. So before dispersal or dehiscence of the anther, so that the pollen grains are let out, are dispersed, these microspores separate from the tetrad. But in some cases, they remain as tetrads, and then we call them compound pollen grains. When they do not separate from the tetrad and pollen grains are present in clusters or in groups, we call them compound pollen grains or compound microspores. And in some cases, all of these pollen grains, they all remain as one unit, and we use the term pollinium for it. And this pollinium is seen in members of the family Asclepiadaceae. In family Asclepiadaceae, we see that the microspores all join together to form a special structure which is called pollinium. Now, this was the structure of the anther. I am erasing this. Now, as the anther matures, what happens? Before dispersal of pollen grains, before the pollen grains are let out, all these, it starts losing water, all these layers they contract, they shrink, and especially the endothecium contracts and the pore, the stomium of the anther opens and pollen grains are released from it. Stomium opens, pollen grains are released, and that is how these pollen grains will now be carried to the female part by agents of cross-pollination, or if it's a bisexual flower, they can pollinate the stigma of the same flower. So this is how anther develops and how pollen grains are formed. Now we come to the structure of the pollen grain. Now each pollen grain, as I told you, is the male gametophyte. It is also called the microspore. Each pollen grain is spherical in shape, a rounded structure like this, and it has a thick layer surrounding it, which is going to keep them viable and allow them to survive in harsh environmental conditions, in high temperature, in acidic alkaline environment, because this pollen grain is covered by two layers. The outer layer has got spiny outgrowth like this, and this is called the exine. It is made up of a special substance called sporopollenin. This is a very important component of the pollen grain, sporopollenin, which makes it the most resistant structure. Biologically, sporopollenin is the most resistant material to survive the environmental conditions. That is why it can survive harsh environmental conditions like high temperature, acidic environment, alkaline environment, because of the presence of sporopollenin. Now this, sometimes the exine, there is a break in the exine in certain regions, and these regions are called the germ pores. Now it has been seen in monocots, there is just one germ pore. So we use the term monocoplate for this. And in dicots, there are 3 germ pores. Usually 3 germ pores are present, so it is called trichoplate. Then the inner layer of the pollen grain is called the intine. It is the smooth layer, and it is this layer which emerges out of the pollen of the germ pore as a pollen tube. So the intine forms the pollen tube, and the exine is the outer hard sticky layer made up of sporopollenin. This intine is made up of cellulose and pectin. The component that makes the intine is cellulose and pectin. Now, pollen grain is a haploid structure, and while it is maturing, it divides into 2 cells. The one that is bigger is called the vegetative cell, and the one that is smaller, spindle shaped, has more cytoplasm, is denser with a nucleus, is called the generative cell. And it is this generative cell that divides to form 2 male gametes. And as the pollen grain matures, this vegetative cell moves in the pollen tube and helps in the development of the pollen tube, and the generative nucleus divides and forms 2 male gametes. So when the pollen tube starts developing at the time of pollen germination, which takes place on the stigma of the flower, that is the landing place for the pollen grains. So with pollination, when the pollen grains reach the stigma, they absorb water and sugary substances produced by the stigma. They swell in size and they germinate. Germination means emergence of the pollen tube from the intine through the germ pore, and this pollen tube will carry the 2 male gametes, which will later help in bringing about fertilization. So this is the structure of the pollen grain. Outer layer is called exine, very hard. Pollen grains can be preserved in liquid nitrogen at minus 196 degrees Celsius. In liquid nitrogen, they can be preserved for very long periods, and then they are used in crop breeding programs. And preservation of pollen grains leads to formation of pollen banks. So that is also something very important. Later, whenever required, they can be used for producing the desired quality of plants. The cross pollination done by man. Pollen are taken from the pollen banks, where pollen grains are kept preserved in liquid nitrogen at temperature minus 196 degrees Celsius. And another important thing that I would like to point out here, now I am going to erase all this. You have understood the structure of the pollen grain, the structure of the anther. Pollen grains have got spiny outgrowths, and the study of these outgrowths is called palynology. The science dealing with the study of the outer layer of the pollen grain, the kind of outgrowths that they have, is called palynology. Now, once the pollen grains have developed, this anther dehisces through openings called stomium. Pollination takes place, pollen grains germinates. Now, pollen grains are very rich in nutrients. They contain carbohydrates, proteins, fats, so they are also used as food supplements in the form of tablets or in the form of syrups, and they are used as food supplements, and they are very important for athletes also. They take that for quick energy because they are rich in carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Besides this, pollen grains can also lead to several kinds of allergies, because when pollen are produced, they fill the air, and people who breathe air rich in pollen grains, if they are allergic, they have very severe respiratory problems like asthma, bronchitis, rhinitis, because of allergies caused by pollen grains. So there's a good side of pollen grains, there is a bad side of pollen grains also. And then we come to another topic, viability. Viability means the period, the time that a pollen grain has the ability to germinate. So that is called pollen viability. In plants like the cereals like wheat, rice, etc., pollen grains just have a viability of say about few minutes. Whereas in other plants like family of Rosaceae, Solanaceae, in these families the pollen grains have a viability of several months. So pollen grains are the male gametophyte, and I have today explained to you the structure of the anther and how pollen grains develop inside the pollen sacs of the anther.